All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is Monday, November 1st. It is 10:40 a.m. here in San Diego, California. Today on the podcast, joining us once again, all the way from, I want a clarification of where you are at exactly because you're not in your normal spot, but today on In the Fight, ladies and gentlemen, Jerald Spohn.
Let's go, man. I'm currently in New Lexington, Ohio. It's a small little country town. Let me clarify, I'm in Junction City, Ohio. I know that makes a big difference.
Well, I didn't want to fuck it up. I knew there was a specificity to it. I knew you're like, yo, it's small town. I'm out in the boonies right now. So I wanted to clarify where you were at.
I am sitting on top of a hill in my driveway just to have enough service to be able to do this with you right now. So it's Perry County. Not much going on around here. You got to drive an hour to Columbus. 45 minutes to Athens if you're familiar with Ohio University. So it's out of the way to say the least.
I gotta say though, love the shirt.
Hey, everywhere I go, man. Hey, this is also the year I was born, so it's
Wow.
some weird.
That's great, bro. No, it's a great shirt. I'm actually rocking the Anik and Florian podcast t-shirt right now. Showing love to our boys out in the floor, Anik and Florian podcast. Let's do this, okay? All we're doing today is the quickest bang, bang, bang recap of UFC 267 over the weekend. We got 2 title fights. We had a outstanding performance from one of the most exciting fighters right now in the UFC. So let's just run through them a little bit. UFC 267, Abu Dhabi. Free pay-per-view. That's noteworthy, and I loved it. Fights on at 11 a.m. West Coast time. Interesting. I was not mentally ready for blood at 11 a.m., but we got into it enough, and by the time the fights rolled around, I was ready to go. I need some help here because what Khamzat was able to do, I'm starting to think that I don't even understand what he's doing in that cage. That was so dominant. What is it? Like, is that a strength thing? Is that a technique thing? Is that confidence? What's your takeaway when you see him dominate in the first round like that?
Levels, man. There's levels to it, and when it comes to the grappling and ground game, dude, he's just so much far and behold above everyone else at this point. And I'm actually interested in seeing a fight where someone has good enough takedown defense to keep it standing, because I didn't know how Lee's takedown defense was. I know he's a terrifying striker, and I was interested in seeing that test if it didn't go to the ground. But Khamzat in insanely impressive fashion, as always, doesn't take more than a single strike, takes it to the ground, says some shit to Dana on the way down, and then finishes the fight. It was crazy.
I did just want to note or put to the side a little bit that Lee was doing the hand fighting. Like, it's not like, Khamzat just secured a rear naked choke in 5 seconds and the fight was over. It was like, no, Lee was fighting. He's doing the hand stuff. He's pulling down on the hands. Like, from a textbook standpoint, and just you tell me when I'm wrong, like, he's doing everything right once you're in that situation. Like, dude, Khamzat was just that good.
100%. There were a few small technical details he could have done a little bit better, like tucking the chin and like raising the traps. That makes it much more difficult. But he had a defense. It looked like he was dead to rights, but he was able to create space on when the choke was on the one side and kind of just sit there and relax and think about what he was doing. It's just once Khamzat switched sides on him, he wasn't able to maintain it. So he had what he thought was the answer, and it wasn't.
Who do you want to see Khamzat take on next? I mean, is it at 85? You think 70 is where he wants to stay? I can't imagine the weight cut's very fun for him. He seems like a big welterweight, and say he wins the title down the line, like making 170 every 3 months does not seem like it would be fun for him, but also he's a psychopath trained killer, and I could never really empathize with what he does. So I don't know. I really don't know what his future looks like. I just have high expectations, high hopes, and a lot of entertainment, I think, is certainly in the schedule.
If it's at 85, I want to see it against Gilbert Burns because I think that would be a crazy fight.
Whoa. Whoa. Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you would almost so send him a grappler, right? Like, just send him a grappler who he can't die and just see what happens. And it almost might end up, funny enough we say this, but like when Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman fought for the first time, you have these outstanding wrestlers, and what happens when you have two great wrestlers against each other? It just ends up in a slugfest.
Yep. And we haven't really seen Khamzat throw anything more than that one right hand that destroyed the Jerald with the G. Boo to Jerald's with G's. Jerald's with J's are the way. So, I want to see this man throw hands.
Yeah, me too, my guy. Okay, co-main event was possibly the most high-level, most skill-filled fight I've ever seen in my life. Like, this fight between Petr Yan, Corey Sandhagen, dude, if you showed that fight to people in 2005, like if you showed MMA fans in 2005 the fight that we saw on Saturday between Petr, Corey, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? This isn't MMA. Like, this is not what we watch. This is not the same sport. It was mind-blowing to see the skills put on display. Obviously, I was pulling for Corey. He's been on the show before. He's very nice, and he's a homie. Bro, Petr is so fucking good. Like, horrifyingly good. I don't know where the hole is in his game. I don't see any weaknesses. He is terrifying.
This guy's ability to just take a round, 2 rounds, to download what the other guy's doing and then just completely dismantle it is insane because Corey wasn't fighting a bad fight. Not at all.
No.
Yeah. And it was just Petr just downloaded it. It looked like he started slow when really he was just figuring things out. And as soon as he decided to start committing to the things he was committing to, it was like the downhill trek. And I mean, it was still a really tight fight. It was insane.
It's weird because Corey now, right, back-to-back losses, and I don't think his stock has dropped one iota. It's like, and this is the coolest thing about MMA compared to boxing or maybe other sports, I guess. Dude, Corey has back-to-back losses, and I think he is in exactly the same place, if not a better place than where he was 6 months ago following his knockout win over Frankie Edgar. Corey did not fight a bad fight. It is unbelievable that he lost because he beats every single person on the planet, I think, on Saturday, except for Petr Yan. He does very well in round 1. Round 2, 3, 4 are... I had rounds 2, 3, 4 for Yan. But then round 5, Corey comes back and looks actually great in round 5 after losing, most likely 3 rounds in a row. And I think all 3 judges gave him the loss in round 5. I thought he won round 5. But for him to even be in it in round 5, I'm just stunned, and I'm so convinced that one day Corey will be a champion.
I do really believe he'll be a champion at some point, and it might just be some weird style matchup, change of the hands, because it's I do have a hard time seeing him beat Yan. It can happen, but the guy's he seems untouchable. But I think eventually someone's gonna figure him out. I don't know if it's Corey, but that might be when Corey's best chances is whoever figures out Yan. Whether it's Aljo or someone else. That might be where Corey picks up the title.
Last question in regards to the co-main event, because this is the only thing, and again, this is elementary school MMA analysis from me here. Petr has the high guard, right? The hands are really, really high. He has the very traditional boxing stance. when people talk about Justin Gaethje's high guard, right? Another really good high guard where he protects up, boom, just like that. They say that the weakness is your takedown defense, right? Like, the reason a lot of guys like having their hands low is because it allows them to defend and stuff takedowns. You would think if you touched, got a guy to put up both hands, that the takedowns would be available. Yet for whatever reason, Jan defends every fucking takedown like a madman. How does he do both those things?
I think he's able to use his hips very well, and he's also so when the shot comes in, when the person initially takes the shot, if you meet them with your hips, a lot of people think you just want to get your legs away, but if you hit force with force, hips against shot, that actually causes them to kind of rebound, and it makes it more difficult. So I think what he does, and he also ferociously defends it. So a lot of guys will kind of give a good effort for a second and then be like, okay, I'm going down. Like I'll figure it out once I get there. Or they try like strikes on the way down or something, and it's, that never really works too well. But Jan just like hips in hard, and then it sell out on the takedown defense. And if you sell it on the takedown defense, it makes you tired, but it's going to make the other guy more tired.
Bingo. Excited for the future of the 135-pound division. It's just loaded top. I mean, there are 10 unranked guys in 135 that excite me and are fun to watch and should excite most MMA fans. Main event, Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, 42 years old, man. He's been fighting for more than 15, 20 years, and at 42 years old, Glover does it. He wins the light heavyweight championship. How motivating is that to see, dude? No, seriously, like, how motivating is that to see that happen?
Dude, as a guy, that wrestled for so long, and there's kind of a time limit with that. And I'm now in the sport of MMA where it's very encouraging. I'm 26, and it's like 42 is a long fucking ways away. I mean, it's not that far, but that's over 10 years. So it's like, man, I got potentially, over a decade to figure this out. And it's just awesome to see such a great dude bring it home.
You look at champions in the UFC who've won the belt above the age of 35, and Glover's the second oldest to ever do it. Randy Couture, Glover, DC. Common denominator here is that they are all outstanding wrestlers. What is it with the old age, the expiring body, that wrestlers are able to get so fucking crafty as they get older that they are able to pull off wins like that? Like, that's not a coincidence.
Wrestling makes you go to very dark places. I mean, you'll hear any wrestler talk about it. There's a reason why it's the best foundation for MMA, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And it's because, I can say that I personally have had many, 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 many dark times in wrestling, and that, I haven't quite had in MMA. Granted, there's a lot of different factors, but you're just grinding every day and you're training really hard, and you're eventually going to find a guy that can stop attack A, B, and C, and you got to figure out how to make it work. So it's a combination of like being used to just grinding for so long, as well as just having to figure it out. There's been so many times, and wrestlers compete, 5 times in a weekend, maybe 7 or 8, depending on if it's an extended tournament. We're in the battle so much, and we're so used to problem solving that it's like, okay, I just got to do this again in a different way.
It was inspiring even for non-MMA fighters, right? Like for a guy like me who wants to get to a place of success, and I'm like, damn, dude, at 42, if I hit it, I would be fucking stoked. And I don't know, man. Sometimes it feels almost like the win is like bigger than the fight. Right? Like, yeah, we saw the belt change, but I don't think that was the storyline. I don't think the storyline was like, oh, Jan Blachowicz loses to Glover Teixeira. For me, it's after 20 years of fighting at 42 years old, Glover Teixeira finally reaches UFC gold. Like, it's interesting, but that's the storyline, not Blachowicz loses in, second round to Glover Teixeira. I don't know. I think there's something there.
It's a feel-good story. It's the guy that just tried and tried. It's like the Thomas the Choo Choo Train, you know? I think I can, man. Glover the Choo Choo Train.
I had a question. Last thing in regards to the fight. Glover gets on top of Blachowicz, and I think you'll appreciate this little call out. Glover likes to shave his head, right? And he's kind of got the prickly hair that's just grown back like 1 or 2 days. And he's putting his head into the face of Blachowicz. Is that actually really fucking annoying?
Bro, it's so fucking uncomfortable. I have a teammate that does it all the time, and he'll like time it up to where like before sparring days where it's like a wire brush, bro. And he gets on top of you and you start, okay, like, how do I not get punched in the face and how do I get off of here? And then all of a sudden it's like someone just scraping just across your face. That's the most fucking frustrating thing ever. That's hilarious.
I'm glad you noticed, dude. I'm glad you noticed it too, because I don't know if I saw it on Twitter, if they mentioned it during the fight, but like I could see Jan Blachowicz like trying to move his head away. He looked in discomfort, dude. Like after getting punched, after trying to get he's got a trained fucking killer trying to submit him, and he's worried about the stubble on his head. I was like, dude, there's no way that that's fake. Like, he is in pain feeling that. So I wanted to ask you about it.
That's a veteran move, man. They're little razor blades. They're not fun.
Yes, it is. Jerald, nice work, brother. Groovy as always. Great catching up. Crazy fights this weekend. So excited about them. No doubt that we'll probably talk about him here in the near future. My guy, enjoy the rest of your Monday. We will talk again soon. Great UFC 267 recap, my guy. It's all right. I know you got a call. It's okay. I know you got a call.